I'm a PE boy. Grew up in Port Elizabeth. I grew up playing in brass bands, wind bands, marching bands, all of that kind of thing. And ironically, where I first started to develop an interest in jazz was in the Navy. I was in the Navy band for 3 years, and I met a lot of older musicians who used the Navy band as sort of a kind of a retirement gig, who were all fantastic jazz musicians, and introduced me to the format. I started playing big band music, and I had this kind of curiosity about the music. I was very drawn to it as soon as I started to listen to it and engage with it, and I wasn't sure why I had such an inclination towards this music. And then I found out about 15 years later that my grandfather was actually a jazz musician. My grandfather, who I never knew, my dad also never knew his father, and turns out he was a jazz pianist, and his brother was a jazz drummer. So it turns out it's in my blood, which I wasn't aware of. So that's how I got started. Once I left the Navy band, I studied in Cape Town at the University of Cape Town, the music school. From there, the jazz story is something that continues, I think, until you finally put your instrument down for the last time. For me, I've played with so many different people, and this year is probably a very exciting chapter in that jazz story. Participating at the Joy of Jazz with my big band, alongside one of the masters of this music, and that's Wynton Marsalis. So very excited towards that.